The floor to the representative of the Russian Federation.
Господин председатель.
Mr. President, we thank the Undersecretary General of the United Nations, Jean-Pierre Lacroix, for his thorough briefing. What warrants close scrutiny and attention is the African vision for resolving issues in the region. This was set out by the Permanent Secretary of the Joint Forces of the Sahel 5, Maman Sidikou, and the High Representative of the AU on Mali and Sahel, Pierre Bouya. We extend our gratitude to other rapporteurs, to other briefers. We concur with the alarming assessments voiced today vis-à-vis the situation in the Sahel. The threat level to security and stability in that part of Africa is now unprecedentedly high. In that region, the terrorist underground has entrenched itself. It is scaling up its operations. It is striving to expand its presence. There is a growing number of new radical groups, and they are engaged in organized crime and are actively using the power vacuum that has been created in vast expanses of the region. The roots of these scourges are well known. In the Sahel, we inter alia are reaping what we have sown as regards the collapse of statehood in Libya, and this was a consequence of heavy-handed foreign intervention. We believe that absent normalization of the situation in that country, it is virtually impossible to reliably stabilize that region. We welcome the initiative of the Sahel 5 states to establish a joint force to combat terrorism and organized crime. In the 18 months of their existence, progress has undoubtedly been achieved. A number of military operations have been conducted. 80% of troops have been deployed. The establishment of headquarters in the Secretariat is being completed. Mechanisms have been set up to deliver on their financing. We expect that specific plans will be voiced in due time on the continuation of joint operations. As we see it, the Sahel Joint Forces have already demonstrated the fact that they represent a key factor in achievement of stability in the region. Of course, there's a great deal of work that lies ahead. The terrorist attack, which occurred 29 June, targeting the Joint Forces headquarters in Sevara, naturally was a heavy blow, and it slowed down the process of their establishment and training. At the same time, it helped to shed light on the shortcomings of the joint forces. As we understand it, the relevant conclusions have been drawn, and the work to address the errors has been undertaken. Moreover, it would be important to expedite the process of equipping team sites for the Sahel forces, tackling issues of providing them with sufficient quantities of weapons and improvement of training for their staff. These are issues that cannot be resolved without stable and predictable financing for the joint military structures of the Sahel states. We see that gradually the funds are being dispersed and are reaching the region. Unfortunately, far from all of those who have assumed the relevant financial obligations are delivering on them in a prompt manner. Due to a dearth of funds, what is unable to perform its mandate in support of the Sahel forces is the UN stabilization mission in Mali. We are convinced of the importance of further coordinated efforts, both by Africans and by the international community. Efforts geared towards combating extremism in the Sahel-Sahara region. It is clear that military methods alone cannot root out this scourge. What is necessary is to effectively counter the proliferation of extremist ideology, to effectively tackle the acute socioeconomic problems plaguing the region, to strengthen their institutions of state governance. In this connection, we note the key role of the UN Comprehensive Strategy for the Sahel in addressing the above-mentioned challenges. The Russian Federation is considering ways to establish effective cooperation with Sahel 5 states to surmount pressing regional problems. A number of countries in the region are already receiving the relevant military and technical assistance. There is training being provided for military and police personnel. We shall continue to facilitate capacity building for the Sahel 5 armed forces so that their joint forces may become a viable, effective tool for the maintenance and restoration of peace in Western Africa. Thank you.
I thank the Russian Federation and I